Hola Unconventionals! Today we're going to tell you all about Cumbaya.
And yes, it is a real place and it's one of the most popular expat cities in Ecuador.
So in this video, we're going to share why most expats love it and why some don't.
Before we dive in and talk about the pros and cons of Cumbaya, we're going to tell you about Cambly, today's sponsor.
Cambly is an English learning platform for students all around the world.
Cambly is currently looking for tutors who are native English speakers. This is a great way to work online, earn some extra income, and be your own boss. And you get paid every Monday via PayPal.
You don't need a degree, prior experience, or a teaching certificate. You just need to be patient and kind.
One of the really nice things about Cambly is you don't need to create your own lesson plans or do any of that work. They have it all laid out for you. All you have to do is log in and follow the lessons.
Cambly is super flexible. You can teach anywhere at any time and there's no minimum hours. You only need a strong internet connection and your own computer.
One of the coolest parts of Cambly is that you get to interact with people and kids from all over the world. You can learn about their culture and their daily lives and really have a global impact because the more English kids learn, the more opportunities are open to them.
We'll put a link below the video so you can sign up to be a Cambly tutor today.
Yeah, and be sure to tell them you heard about them through Amelia And JP's YouTube channel when you fill out their application, and you'll get priority consideration.
And now we're going to share why most expats love Cumbaya and why some don't. And our first reason is that Cumbaya is much lower in elevation than Quito, Cuenca, and Cotacachi.
Yeah, it's only 7,200 feet, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually a lot better than those higher elevation cities. I did not struggle there like I normally do, so I think we've determined that my elevation issues kick in at around the 8,000 foot mark because I struggled in Cotacachi, which is about 7,900 feet, and Cuenca and Quito are even higher than that. But I was doing pretty well in Cumbaya. What do you think?
I think you did great. Yeah, Quito was tough. It was tough for me too, man. When we were up walking up Teleferico, I was like...
Yeah, that's at 13,000 feet. Quito's at 9,400 feet, and man, the air is thin up there.
It is. There are a few places that are lower, but we thought that Cumbaya is a sweet spot.
Another great thing about Cumbaya is that it is a warmer and drier microclimate, even though it's so close to Quito, which is rainy and cold most of the time.
Yeah, it sits in a valley. It was really cool to go down that 2,000 feet and just see the beautiful landscape and the skies open up. Ah, not really. I may be exaggerating a little bit, but it did feel like that after being on top of Teleferico and those wind blowing and chapping our face. We came down to Cumbaya and it was much more comfortable and drier as well.
Yep, sunny and warm. We drove right out of the clouds and into the blue sky. It was a beautiful thing.
A lot of expats love how close to Quito Cumbaya is, and also the weather isn't always bad in Quito. So you can go and be into Old Town in about 25 minutes and enjoy a beautiful day.
Yeah, Cumbaya is a suburb of Quito, so it's part of the greater Quito metropolitan area, which has a lot of cultural events, cultural activities, things to do, things to see, and all the shopping you could ever hope for. There's lots of malls in Quito, so you know it's really close. Only 25 minutes to downtown.
Yeah, since it's the capital of Ecuador, you can get pretty much everything you need. And there's a lot of day trip opportunities all around that area.
Cumbaya is also really close to the Quito International Airport. That means you have direct flights to other places in South America, Central America, the United States, and even Europe. Several destinations in Europe right from Quito. So it's only about 30 minutes from the airport. That means you could be in Europe the same day.
Yep, and you can also catch a bunch of domestic flights from Quito to places like Manta. We've taken that flight now a couple times, and it's so quick and easy. Also to Cuenca, to Loja, lots of options.
One of the things that expats love the most about Cumbaya is the housing options. There are a lot of different types of houses, and we featured several of them in a previous video. I'll link that above Amelia's head.
Yeah, there's a wide variety, whether you want a condo or a townhouse or a single family detached home, or if you want to be right in the heart of the city, or if you want a little bit more land, you've got a lot of opportunities to find exactly what you're looking for.
There's also a lot of different gated communities to choose from, and a lot of the construction is pretty new. We were talking to our driver and our real estate agent, Patty, who we featured in our other videos. And they told us that Cumbaya is really pretty new. 30 years ago, it was mainly just dirt roads. So most of the construction you see has been built in the last couple decades.
There are a lot of shopping options in Cumbaya. Cumbaya has 2 shopping malls. It kind of reminded us of the Cherry Creek area in Denver, if you guys are familiar with that. You can find anything you want in that area, whether you want to get it in Cumbaya or go into Quito.
There are a lot of little shops too, in addition to the shopping malls. Along the streets, you can find all kinds of stuff like furniture stores, specialty organic shops, organic chocolate. Picari has a store there.
I was in heaven.
There was a lot of shopping opportunities. I really liked the Scala Mall. It had all the American brands that you're familiar with, like Tommy Hilfiger and the MAC store. And what was the other one that you liked? The makeup store that you like to go to, La Cotaine?
That's actually French. It had a lot of different European stores as well. And there's another mall that actually has a pedestrian bridge that's connected to the university. It's Paseo San Francisco. So I guess that's popular with the students because they don't have to deal with traffic, which is nice. And it has a nice food court and an interesting variety of shops. It was laid out kind of weird, so we didn't totally get the feel for it.
Yeah, we got lost. We walked around in circles, and it was kind of shaped like a star with a hub in the middle, but every level had a different layout. And it was the most confusing mall I think I've ever been in my life. I'm not exactly sure why they designed it that way. Maybe it was land. I don't know, but it was confusing.
Yes, but they do have things that you can buy in there and places you can eat. So it is functional.
Cumbaya also has a lot of different types of restaurants, multiple international cuisines, different dietary requirements. We found it very easy to eat our plant-based diet there. We also saw a lot of gluten-free options, just all kinds of stuff.
There's also a lot of coffee shops, and even Picari has a restaurant there. Unconventionals, I was in heaven. It smells incredible in here. I think I've died and gone to heaven. A Picari restaurant. And there's 2 Indian restaurants. We did not go hungry.
There was a nice little outdoor eating area. It was kind of covered, but it was like an outdoor food court with a bunch of different types of restaurants in there. And they had, one of them was Indian. And as you know, we are Indian food addicts, so we ate there a couple times. But there were nice places in the malls too. And there's also a Mega Maxi and a Super Maxi. Lots of mercaditos, like the little neighborhood fruit and vegetable stands around. Lots of little shops. There is a Mercado. We went to it. It was a lot smaller. Probably the smallest one that we've seen in Ecuador so far.
One of my favorite things about Cumbaya is that it is so walkable. We stayed in an Airbnb in La Primavera neighborhood, which reminded us a lot of El Vergel, the neighborhood we lived in Cuenca, and we were able to walk everywhere. We did not need to take a taxi anywhere when we were wandering around Cumbaya.
I think we walked from one end of that town to the other multiple times while we were there. It's extremely walkable. We walked to all the restaurants we went to, the malls, both of them. It means you don't need a car. That will save you a lot of money. However, there are cabs everywhere, and we saw multiple buses. There's several main drags through Cumbaya, so you can catch buses on those. It's really easy to get around if you don't want to walk.
One of the other things that we really loved is all the nature.
Yeah, there is a walking trail that runs all the way through Cumbaya, clear to Tumbaco. It's 22 kilometers long. And I guess it was a railroad track because we saw some railroad tracks in parts of it. So they converted that into this awesome trail that people bike and jog and walk on.
Yep, you can walk your dogs on that too. I loved hearing all the birds and seeing so many hummingbirds. I guess I missed that. We used to see hummingbirds all over the place in Cuenca, but we don't see them as much on the coast.
Yeah, you hear them all over the place there, and you see them. There's different kinds too, some with long tails with forks in them, and it was just really cool to see them everywhere. And they really are territorial, so they fight a lot.
Yeah, they're pretty noisy for as teeny tiny as they are. There's also horses around. It's just everything is green. It's really pretty.
Cumbaya is also a really active, super fit community. We saw a lot of people out jogging, riding their bikes, walking around town. There's a lot of gyms that we saw, different types of gyms.
Yep, you can do yoga, you can take dance classes. There is all sorts of activities, and there's quite a few pools as well in the different complexes. Apparently swimming is very popular in that part of Ecuador.
Another thing expats love is the high-quality health care available in the area. There's a hospital that we were told by someone who lives in Cumbaya is one of the best hospitals in Ecuador.
Yeah, and you're also close to Quito, so you have everything there. All the specialists are right there. Like we said, only a short drive away. So it's great. if you have any sort of health concerns.
Cumbaya is also really family friendly. There are several international schools there, a German school, an American school, and a British school. So your kids are going to get educated in some of the best schools in Ecuador.
Yep, and as we mentioned, there is a university there as well. So you can have your kid go from kindergarten all the way up through graduation where they're going out and getting to work.
Yeah, that's a good time. Cumbaya is also really safe. It's one of the safest cities in Ecuador. We saw a lot of police and security guards around, but we also saw a lot of really high-end cars, and they were parked on the street overnight. That's not something that we normally see in Ecuador. Most people keep their cars in garages or courtyards, but we were really shocked to see BMWs and Volvos and Mercedes parked on the street when we would take our morning walk after our coffee.
Right, this was in the neighborhood we stayed in, La Primavera, which was not a gated community, so it was nice. We felt very safe when we were there.
And now for the cons, the things that some expats don't like about Cumbaya, and the biggest one probably is that it's really freaking expensive.
Yeah, it is the most expensive place I think we've been to in Ecuador. It definitely seemed more expensive than Manta, and actually we had a guy tell us that he paid for a haircut in Cumbaya and it was $23 and it was only $10 here in Manta, so just to give you an idea. Although I don't feel like dining out was as expensive, but housing was definitely more expensive.
Yeah, we featured several properties in our real estate tour video, and they were quite a bit more expensive than what we've seen here on the coast, which up until now is the most expensive place we've been to in Ecuador. Again, check out that video to get an idea of what we're talking about. Also, those houses were really super nice,
yeah,
too, and a lot bigger than what we've seen here on the coast.
There were some very high-end stores in the mall that I recognized from the United States and that I would have just kept on walking by in the States, and I did so here as well. Cumbaya is also pretty crowded and congested, especially compared to where we've been in the coast and in Cuenca.
There were a lot of cars, a lot of traffic. So we spent a lot of time waiting to get through intersections. The trail, the hiking trail that we talked about that runs through town, had a lot of people on it. A lot more people out exercising and riding their bikes than we're used to seeing here. The malls were very crowded. The food court, there are a lot of people in Cumbaya.
And finally, the last thing that some expats do not like about Cumbaya is that it is still high elevation. 7,200 feet is still pretty high.
The air is thinner there than normal, even though I did pretty well. When we walked up a hill, I was winded, and so was Amelia.
I was.
Because living at sea level now, I guess we just don't have the blood to handle that elevation. But it's not bad, but it's still pretty high, especially if you have any underlying health issues or difficulty breathing. You might struggle there.
Yeah, you can go to Loja and Vilcabamba. Those are both lower in elevation than Cumbaya.
Yeah, and still in the mountains and still beautiful if you don't want to live on the coast. All right, guys, if you want to see more of our videos from Quito and the Cumbaya area, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell because you'll get notified when we post them.
And if you liked this video, leave us a thumbs up, please.
And remember to look below the video for that link to Cambly.
All right, we hope you have an unconventional day, and we will see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.